Thank you so much. And distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. I'm really pleased to be here today and along with my leaders, the African leaders, to support Africa-Brazil Forum 2021. And I want to thank you, Caroline and Prof. Monte, Bosco, for inviting us. As you mentioned, Caroline, my name is Fadel Ndiame. I'm Deputy President of AGRA, and I have the privilege and the honor of moderating this current and important session. Now, let's start just with few facts. And it's good to see my brother, the Professor Monte, joining us. Brazil and African countries have unquestionable similarities in their natural resource endowment, and that was highlighted in the concluding remark of Professor Monte. And this in turn has led to really quite comparable path in terms of agriculture with good practices, innovation and technologies. And I think the purpose of this discussion this afternoon, we explore how we can bring the two countries even closer so that we can embark together on the path of a more sustainable food system. Now, to do this, I'm pleased to have two very prominent panelists. I want to start with you, Professor. I don't need to introduce you in your own platform, but I just want to highlight that not only you are a professor, but you are a very innovative leaders who actually launched this platform, really trying to build a bridge between Africa and the continent. Really very happy to have you with us this afternoon, Prof. And my second guest is an uncommon leader, an African leader, His Excellence Hailemariam Desalegn. Your Excellence, if you manage to connect, please have your video on as I do your introduction. Firstly, I want to say
Fadel, I think I can only speak through the microphone because video failed to show up. But anyway, okay. I will continue on with the microphone.
Thank you very much, sir. I think we will make it work. Thank you. So I was just saying that you are the second executive prime minister of Ethiopia, and you served in this leadership capacity from August 2012 to April 2018. But prior to that, you also served as deputy prime minister and minister of foreign affairs, social affairs minister, and government chief minister under the Prime Minister Meles. And you also serve as a governor of the Southern Region State for 6 years. So we're really pleased to have you here, sir, in your double capacity as a leader, a statesman, but also as the leader of AGRA and the leaders of partners, the AGRA partners group. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
So to get us started, I would like to start with you, Prof. Basically, and just to give you some of the ground rule of this session, that we want pretty much to make very conversational. I expect to have 3 rounds of engagement with each of you, asking you initially to make your, framing remark. Prof. Monte, in your case, just tell us a bit more about IBRAF, your vision of the South-South triangular cooperation, and the experience of your institution in facilitating relationship between the continent and Brazil. So let me start with you for your opening remark, Prof. Monte. The floor is yours.
I think, can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you.
Very good. Very good. So I was saying that it's a pleasure, my dear brother Fadel. Every time when I speak with Fadel, looks like we are close. We know each other for a long time. Yes, we know each other for a quiet time, but Fadel is so impressed and so enthusiastic about doing things with Brazil that gives me the idea that we need to do more, and that's why the Brazil Africa Institute is engaged now with AGRA. I remember last year when I visited the headquarters of AGRA, my dear brother Fadel, in Nairobi, and we met and discussed possibilities of integration and interaction. I had the idea that we should bring AGRA to this edition of the Brazil-Africa Forum, and that's why I'm very happy that you accepted immediately when I approached you, say, why don't you come to the Brazil-Africa Forum, not individually, but bringing the logo of AGRA with us. And I'm being very positive about what we can do, bringing the Brazilian experience to the African continent. But let me give to you and the audience an idea about what IBRAF is. When I founded the Institute 10 years ago, the idea very pragmatically was to put together Brazilians and Africans in the way that we should know each other. Sometimes we think that we know our neighbor, we think that we know who are in front of us, but we need to go beyond, we need to go deep. That's why the Brazil-Africa Institute has its mandate to promote this integration. And one of the agenda that we understand, which is more and very important, is the South-South cooperation and triangular cooperation. And having this conversation with you today, and my dear friend, Prime Minister Hailemariam, is the moment that we create to again try to bring not only the two organizations, IBRAF and AGRA, but others involved. During this event, during the Brazil-Africa Forum this year, we are receiving many participation, and I understand the ideas that we are provoking now can be transformed into actions. The mandate of the Institute is to catalyze the atmosphere that we have in terms of good experiences from Brazil to Africa, but also bringing African experiences to Brazil. I understand we can learn from each other very easily. Sometimes people say that Africa will learn from Brazil. Yes, I understand that, but we can do in the way around. And I'm learning too much. Every time when I go to places in Kenya, where you are now, and I go to Senegal, I remember we had a very good discussion in Senegal last year. I understand we can bring these experiences from Africa to Brazil, from Ethiopia. My dear friend, Prime Minister, your country is a place where Brazil can take too much of knowledge. And I understand this moment now, facilitated by AGRA with us, is a landmark that we can use to emphasize the importance of South-South cooperation, which is a very and strong operational way for us to bring development for Africa, for Brazil, and for our friends. So, thanks again, my dear brother Fadel.
Thank you, brother Monte. I think again, we share the same energy, the same passion for reconnecting two continents that have a lot in common, not only history, geography, but also the future. Now, with that, I will make a transition to His Excellency Hailemariam Desalegn. Your Excellency, as I alluded to in my introduction, you wear several hats, but I want to speak now to the head of state, to the leader of AGRA, but also the leader of the AGRA Partners Group. And the question I have to you, sir, for your introductory remark is the following. Now, considering some of the major events, COVID-19, UN Food System Summit, COP26, and the engagement you also had with your peer, head of state, please paint for us the status of African agriculture. What are the challenges and what do you see as opportunities as we speak now? So over to you, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fadel. And first of all, I would like to thank Professor Monte for founding this very important institution between the two tropical regions, continents, let me say. I consider Brazil as one of the continents because of its size and population. And of course, it also represents Latin American continent. Having said this, I'm very much pleased to be here today to take part in this Brazil-Africa Forum, which I was also part last year. And I'm very happy to again be with you today. I think the AGRA has expertise as a facilitator of good practices. And as the Professor Monte said, we can share our experiences. There are some best practices that can be shared from Africa. As he mentioned, Africa is not one country. Africa is a very diverse continent with different practices that we can share with each other. I think this year, as I mentioned, I think 2021 is one of the landmark historical year because there are a number of events that has taken place this year. If you remember, Dr. Fadel, I think we had our AGRF summit, which is leading to our UN Food Systems Summit, and also the COP26, which is also a very important event, which has happened. We are also looking forward to see the Biodiversity Convention, which is going to be convened in China, most probably in 6 months' time, I think. And also the Desertification Convention as well. All this shows us that this is a very good year, that Brazil and Africa started to work together, and AGRA and also the institute, the Brazil African Institute, started to work together to bring about expeditious changes that has to take place, which is matching to the current reality. You know, we have triple challenge of food security and nutrition in Africa and elsewhere. Of course, we can learn from the Zero Hunger program of Brazil. When I was in office, we have been engaging with the former President Lula of Brazil on the Zero Hunger program, which Brazil has successfully conducted. And we have a challenge in Africa now with food insecurity and nutrition security as well. You know, Africa is a very young continent, and we have jobs and incomes, which becomes a very big challenge at this moment. Of course, we have to address this very well, and this is also another challenge. We have, you know, the environmental sustainability issue is also a big challenge we have to address. I think the COP26 has come with some of the issues. But beyond that, in Africa, we have also a challenge of conflicts. You know, Africa is marred with lots of conflict, and including my own country. You know, no one has expected that my country, Ethiopia, will end up with this kind of conflict. And you see this kind of incidents happening in many parts of Africa, which derails our gains we have made for ourselves. So I think this is also one of the major challenges we have to address. And COVID-19 is, all of you know, I think it has become also a big challenge. So we have to address all these challenges. Now, between 2000 and 2016, several African countries were able to dramatically reduce the prevalence of stunting and wasting. But since then, however, due to climate change and protracted conflicts, which I mentioned, progress on addressing malnutrition has stalled. And in some cases, it's reversed. And the COVID-19 pandemic has further hampered efforts to deliver on healthy diets containing sufficient, diverse, and safe food for all. So I think this includes also not only adults, but also mothers and infants. And we need to address all these challenges to ourselves. So Fadel, knowing this, we have tried this year AGRF Summit to understand, perhaps for the first time in our history, for many of us, what food systems are. And we used to have a fragmented, broken system, only focusing on production. But this time, we came to understand that COVID-19 has exposed the weaknesses of our system, where we, including the UN Food System Summit, has come up with a comprehensive, interconnected, systemic approach to resolve all these problems and the challenges we are facing today. So this is amplified, of course, and our understanding and put pressure on the way we produce and consume food. So I think at the AGRF and during my travel around Africa before the summit, we heard a loud call for us to develop a more integrated approach to our food systems. And so then comes the climate change issue, which is a big challenge. COP26, even though it's not as optimistically seen, we have a cautious optimism on the results of the COP26, but nonetheless, it has put some strides that we can work together and look forward without losing hope to address this challenge of climate change and its impacts. And so therefore, we need food systems that are built on biodiversity, net zero carbon goals, and healthy people. None of this will happen without innovation, finance, and trade. So in summing up, we need innovation, finance, and trade work best when we collaborate and share knowledge and best practices. So that's the need for this cooperation between AGRA and the Brazil Africa Institute and the continent of Africa, and as well as the continent of Latin America, and specifically Brazil as a big nation that can share its experiences.
Thank you so much, Excellence. I think you painted a very comprehensive picture of the continent, the opportunity, the broader context, some of the rallying causes that are emerging out of all of this. But you also showed us that across the continent, priorities are emerging on what needs to be done and how we can take advantage of some of the opportunities like the Brazil-Africa cooperation. So with that, let me go back to you, Prof. Monte, and just ask you a simple question. You heard what the chair said around the challenges and the opportunities, but also making specific references to the UN Food System Summit. So my question to you is, what lessons for South-South cooperation was drawn from the UN Food System Summit? What role do you see this platform playing in addressing some of the key challenges and gaps that were highlighted by His Excellency?
Yeah, thank you.
You can give example from Brazil if you want. Over to you, my brother.
Thank you, my dear brother, Dr. Fadel. But first, let me congratulate the Prime Minister. I remember when he was in power in the cabinet, the agenda of Brazil with Africa and also specific with Ethiopia was very good. And I remember the Zero Hunger program in Brazil was a very important and successful agenda of the government of Brazil that time. And I understand this could be emphasized into the Africa context. And I know the voice of the Prime Minister. It's very important to address this issue even now. And we need to bring some good experiences, not only specifically from Brazil. We can bring this from other places to be implemented in the Africa context. But coming to your point, my dear brother, the UN Food System Summit was an important moment. We are still facing this at this moment. I mean, the Food System Summit is not over. I remember last year when we engaged at the first conversation with many stakeholders from representing the private sector, government, also the civil society, with the voice and the leadership of our friend Dr. Agnes Kalibata as the special envoy of the Secretary General of the United Nations. And she was very precise and direct when she said, we need to work together to change the behavior of the world, but also bringing solutions. And we started this conversation last year, And the pandemic was something that gave us an important and difficult challenge because we could not travel. We should be isolated to bring in some ideas. And we had so many conversations. And I remember the pre-summit in Rome was an important moment or momentum that we had when leaders, and that was the first big event during the COVID or after COVID. People were a little bit, let's say, skeptical about traveling, but it was very good being in Rome for the preparation for the summit in New York last September. But the agenda that we brought from this food system summit was important to emphasize the need of South-South cooperation. I understand countries from the South, like Brazil and the African countries, we should work together. It's the moment now for us to speak with the North, but we need to put our power together, my brother. It's now you are in Kenya, the Prime Minister, I assume he is in Ethiopia right now. I'm here in Brazil, and we had people so far participate in this event located in many parts of the world. This is a very good and tangible case that we can work together. And the South-South cooperation for the food system, I understand is fundamental, it's crucial, because the moment that we have now is the moment for solidarity. I emphasize this many times. Without solidarity, we cannot go beyond the ideas. And again, we need to transform all the ideas that we have into actions. Because at the end of the day, what we need to change people's life and give people the idea to live better. And the South-South cooperation is a avenue, is the path to achieve the goals of the Food System Summit. The Food System Summit is not over. We have a very big journey still, but we need to be there. And I'm very glad that AGRA and the Brazil Africa Institute are now working in this direction to change the way that we produce food, but not food in quantity, but also in quality, right? The Prime Minister just mentioned, right? And food nutrition. We need to emphasize this. And I'm very, very pleased, my dear brother, that we have the opportunity to amplify. And we need to invite others to be with us. AGRA and IBRAF cannot be alone. We should use this opportunity to engage more and more with your voice and the voice of the Prime Minister and other people that we will bring on board.
Thank you so much, my brother. I mean, it's a very exciting. And just to make reference to the UN Food System Summit, we are all very proud that the face of such an important global conversation on food, nutrition, health, and sustainability was no other than our leader, our sister, Dr. Agnes Kalibata. I think that speaks exactly to the point that Africa can lead the way in really rethinking and resetting what the Global Food System Summit should, what the global food system should look like. But now we need to walk the talk. And I want to, coming back to you, my brother Monte, can you give a specific example in terms of value chain or sustainable practices where you feel like Brazil have made some tremendous progress that could inform the direction that the African countries will take? Then I will go back to the Prime Minister to get his own view on the same.
I see Brazil as a possibility to bring some experiences to Africa. I've been visiting Africa for a long time, and every time when I go to places like, again, Kenya or Nigeria or Senegal, I see so many similarities. And I was mentioned before that sometimes it looks just like a mirror. We see in Africa what we have in Brazil. And if Brazil change its narrative as an importer of crops, products, we can do this in Africa as well. Brazil changed its position as importer to a big producer. for Brazil itself, but also to export to other countries. But we need to change this environment within Africa, and Brazil can contribute very much. The Brazil-Africa Institute, since 2017, started a very important program of transfer of technology, using the capacity of the universities, companies, some international organizations based in Brazil, to deploy in Africa to technical training, the possibility to do in Africa what we did in Brazil in terms of production. But it's not the way that unplug here in Brazil and plug in Senegal, for instance. We need to adjust, we need to customize, and we need to respect the individuality of each country. And I understand the agriculture sector, the agribusiness, is a very important possibility of interaction. And there is something else. I mentioned before the word solidarity. And I heard from both President Lula and President Kufu the same word. Solidarity is absolutely important, but we can go beyond the solidarity aspect. We can do business, and we should emphasize the importance of bringing Brazilian business people, Brazilian business community, to do business within Africa, with local Africans. We are talking about this for a long time, and I understand AGRA can play a very important role of open African people's mind in terms of, in operational way, speak with Brazilian business people as well. And this could be a piece of the big puzzle, my dear brother, for us to transform not only the solidarity in a way that we can do business and be even profitable. I see some Brazilian companies very interested to come to Africa. And this moment that we have now is a unique opportunity to emphasize the need that we have and the opportunity that we have in front of us to do in Africa what we did, what we do still in Brazil.
Thank you very much, brother. Very clear. I like your focus on solidarity and while we're doing business. And I think that also echoed very well the call that the UN Food System Summit to the Global South to have deep internal cooperation, international cooperation through SDTC, address the global challenges in the Global South, reduce poverty and inequality while achieving sustainable development goals. Now with that, I'd like to go back to His Excellence, Mr. Desalegn, just to get your take on where do you see the greatest opportunities in terms of value chain and sustainable practices, where Africa can borrow intelligently, adapt and customize experience from Brazil and vice versa. And I know Your Excellency that you, despite being a statesman, you have a very deep knowledge of technical issue by training and by practice. So I would like to get your insight on those value chain and those practices that we can all leverage on and build back better. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fadel. I think, first of all, I will base my comments on the experience I had when I was in office with Brazil. You know, the South and Triangular Cooperation, as you mentioned, and also Professor alluded just now, aims to strengthen knowledge sharing and capacity building and technical assistance between our countries within the Global South. I think we try to document and codify and share innovative and good practices and models, of course, approaches and tools for South-South cooperation from Brazil. And it's an active member of this South-South and Triangular Cooperation. So we value very much our cooperation with Brazil. And that's why I myself visited Embrapa in Brazil to coordinate our research and development in many crops and value chains in Africa, specifically in my own country. So that experience is very much important. I think Brazil ranking 22nd among the 131 economies in Global Innovation Index. It means that we have, of course, similarity in our agroecology, and we need to get that innovation without reinventing the wheel. So it expedites the implementation of those technologies adapting to our own situation in Africa. So I think this is very, very essential. For example, the soya bean value chain and its allied industries, especially also poultry, would be a potential area for collaboration. We have tried this in our country, especially in Ethiopia. As for technology transfer, there were efforts to develop partnership with Embrapa, as I said, the Brazilian Agriculture Research Corporation, and African Agriculture Research Institutions. Although it hasn't taken off yet, I think we have an opportunity to go further in this regard. Brazil is also a top producer of many other grains, pulses, fruits, etc. Top 10 producers of rice, maize, sorghum, and wheat. We can mention many in the value chain. There is a great potential there. They are a world-class player in many value chains and have a lot to share with us. This I tested myself. And I need to be clear in which, the global South have interest with respect to supporting Africa while working together with Brazil Africa Institute. We have to clarify this further and how to do together and collaborate in this regard. So there is immense opportunity, and there is interest from both sides, and we need to capitalize at this time in history of our two continents to go for this cooperation to be deepened. As a chair of AGRA, and as a person who has been leading a country which has shown a double-digit growth for a decade and a half, I think we have examples that can be shared. So, Dr. Fadel, I think sky is the limit for our cooperation.
Thank you so much, sir. I really want to echo the sky is the limit. You oversaw a double-digit growth over a decade and a half. This happened on the continent. I think we really have a case for a mutually beneficial partnership. Now we want to leave a few minutes for eventual question from the audience. But before that, I would like to go back to you, Chair, and give you opportunity to basically launch and formally endorse the strategic partnership between AGRA and IBRA in order to tap and facilitate this relationship between Africa and Brazil, and through Brazil, the whole Latin America and Caribbean continent. Over to you, Chair.
Thank you, Fadel. I think the cooperation between AGRA and the Brazil Africa Institute is so important, as I mentioned. This collaboration shows the potential for a South-South cooperation framework that brings opportunities and needs together, our interests together. This collaboration will bring together government, the private sector, civil society groups, and researchers to drive policy innovation in agriculture to meet the needs of our people, our planet, also our prosperity. So I am therefore pleased to officially launch the collaboration in the agriculture space between Brazil and Africa, and between AGRA and the Brazil Africa Institute. I thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir. I mean, Prof, my brother Monte, I think this is a great day. I mean, this is a great time in history where we are formally really rebaptizing and endorsing what we thought was the right thing to do, and for which now we know we have political support. There is a momentum. The ball is on our court. Maybe let's go to Carol and see whether we have any question from the audience that you would want either the Prime Minister or yourself to answer before we end this session with your concluding remark.
My dear, My dear
go
brother,
ahead,
let me approach to you. I could not lose the opportunity to emphasize that the idea of transforming ideas into action, it's happening. It's happening. So when we have the Prime Minister officially launching this collaboration, means that we are doing things for the future, but we are not only putting on the table ideas. We are bringing possibilities to go on the ground, to put our hands together and bringing results. So I'm very pleased that in this moment, after almost 2 hours of event, we have already one action taking place. So next year, 2022, will be the year that Brazil will come back to Africa, and Africa will be again connected with Brazil, and we are working very pragmatically in this direction, and AGRA is one important, my dear friend, Prime Minister Hailemariam, AGRA is an important partner of not only Brazil, not only the Brazil-Africa Institute, but South America. So I'm very pleased that we are launching this initiative together, AGRA and IBRAF.
Thank you very much. I think I fully agree. I mean, this is a great opportunity. Just to say that from February next year, we will start a systematic process of mapping out needs and offering on both sides and trying to match and connect, as the Prime Minister said, government, private sector, producers, civil society on area of mutual interest with the view of co-creating solution, investment, as we all strive to build back better. So this was a great opportunity. I don't know whether, and I want to check with our host, whether we have any burning question that you would, Caroline?
Mr. Fadel.
I don't know whether we have any question.
Yes, Mr. Fadel. I would appreciate a lot to try to address a few questions to you, of course, His Excellency Hailemariam and also Professor Monte. But unfortunately, we have a schedule to follow and we have run our time for now. So I just would like to thank you for being here with us today. I don't know if Professor would like to also to wrap up this panel.
Well, I wish we could stay here longer, having more than 5 hours to this conversation, and I'm very pleased that we launched this program with AGRA, and I understand, once again, that the work that AGRA is doing with the leadership of our sister, Dr. Agnes Kalibata, and also with you, Dr. Fadel, but also with the chair, Prime Minister Hailemariam. I'm very enthusiastic now. I'm very sure that what we are putting on the ground now will be collected, will be harvested in the future for Brazil and for Africa, bringing results, positive results for everybody. Once again, thank you very much for the partnership, and I know that AGRA and IBRAF will be together for a long time, bringing good results for Africa and for Brazil as well. Thank you very much.